Good afternoon. It's time for January's podcast. This one's all about musicality. Okay, so one of the big questions that's always asked me is what makes the perfect dancer? Okay, now realistically, there's no such thing as a perfect dancer. No matter how long you've been dancing, you always want to improve. Okay, but the perfect dancer for me personally, my opinion, is that you're doing the most appropriate moves to the most appropriate music. Okay, so you would have lots of moves that you would have necessarily, and you would nail them, the most appropriate ones, to that piece of music. Okay, if you get that, that is for me the best type of dance. When we're judging, that's what we're looking for. Okay, if it's a swing song, you know, then you're looking to do swingy type stuff. If it's a slow chill out song, looking to do slow chill out stuff. Okay, but we'll go into that in a little bit more detail with music. We've got lots of music coming up this month, but for rights reasons, they'll be shorter, as Desert Island discs say. Right, so a couple of questions that have come up first of all. Okay, so that's the basic principle. So a few of these. So dance to a rhythm or a melody? Both. I'm going to answer these quite shortly actually today. Okay, why a triple step helps you have in your dance repertoire? Sometimes it's useful to have a triple step in there. Sometimes it's not. Again, it's entirely down to your own personal preference. For me, sometimes a triple step, sometimes I don't. Just depends what the rhythm is saying. Interpreting the lyrics, yes, we'll come on to that shortly as well. And where does playing, strutting fit into all of this? Again, I'll come on to that shortly. And is musicality something that is taught or evolves naturally? Something you can learn, okay? Some people are very, very musical and they will actually kind of have it in their bones as such, but 99.9% of the people, it's something you can learn how to do by changing the one thing which I'm going to talk about now. Okay, so musicality is a very, very difficult subject to teach because there's loads and loads of different ways to teach it, loads of different ways to understand it. Lots of people really, really struggle with what musicality is. Okay, so we're going to go back to the basics. When you learn to dance, what you learn is moves. Okay, so we'll learn an octopus, for instance. We'll change places 3 times. That will be fine. The music will be somewhere there in the background. Okay. What we then have is eventually you learn X amount of moves. Let's say 100 moves. Okay. This is for the men at the moment. I'm going to come on to the ladies separately shortly. Okay. And then all of a sudden, this background noise you've been thinking of, it kind of plays a part. And then you think, right, how do I dance to the music? Okay. So that is something which you then have to try and think about, right, where's the music connecting to what I'm doing? What moves should I then do? Okay, but I like to flip it completely on its head. Okay, so once you have, this is again just the men for now, once you have, or the leads I should say, once you have that basic principle of having a number of moves that you can do competently, and you do need to have that basis to start with, then what I want you to think about is not what move am I going to do next, but what is the music telling me to do next? And as soon as you get to that level, then the moves don't really matter anymore. Okay, from the ladies' perspective, they're turning, returning, straight line, all that type of stuff. Okay, but what we're looking for from a male perspective or a lead perspective is to think, what is the music telling me to do? And I'm going to give you a number of examples of how that works, okay, in a few moments. All right, so that's kind of the starting place to flip the process around from thinking, what move am I going to do next, to what is the music telling me to do next? Okay, just breaking off, Sue's got a question there. What is the etiquette regarding getting away from someone who's too rough? Don't dance with them. Sorry, it sounds very apt. But release your hand grip is the main thing I'd say. If someone's being very rough, so men, try not to yank the ladies around. It's never nice to do that. But ladies or follows, from that perspective, try and just relax your hand grip as much as you possibly can, and then the men don't physically have something to do it. Lots of ladies, when they are being roughly treated, they'll hold on even tighter, and that makes the men even stronger. So just relax the grip as much as you can. I hope that answers it for you soon. Right, so I've given you the starting point of from the lead perspective. I'll use lead and follow if I can. Okay, and that is about the men trying to think about what moves they're going to happen, but thinking about actually the music is telling me what to do. But ladies, I often use this analogy of the third principle, in that the men should lead the dance for a third of it, the music should lead the dance for a third of it, and ladies, you should lead the dance for a third of it. Okay, now I've just done a lesson with somebody who's a lovely lady, and I got her to be in a particular position, and then she was doing some really extravagant stuff which I loved. I thought she was doing brilliant stuff. Okay, I didn't lead any of that. Okay, I put her in a position to do something. I had no idea what she was going to do, but what she did was fantastic. It doesn't matter, there's no right or wrong answer. So what she did was absolutely fantastic. She was leading the dance at that point, and the better dancer you get, as a lady, the more and more you should input into the dance. It's no longer lying back and thinking whatever the man's got in his repertoire is what we're going to do. Ladies, I want you to lead a third of the dance if you possibly can. Now, that doesn't mean sabotaging. That means within the lead, try and say what you're trying to say within the dance. So expressing your body, moving your head, doing shimmies, using the shoulders to rotate round. That is you leading your part of the dance. That's what we want to see much more of if you possibly can. Okay, so there's the first part. All right, so ladies, you try and lead as much as the man leads. The music should tell you then what to do. So that's our basic concept we have. Okay, now moving on, lots of different ways of doing it. Okay, but we often teach breaks. We're just going to do breaks very, very quickly. We've dance weekends, we've done this for about an hour or so. So hello to everybody that's joining, by the way. But what we're looking for, sorry, I'm just declining the call. What we're looking for is hitting breaks. We often use a traffic light system. Okay, so I'm going to play a bit of music. I have to talk over the music, otherwise we get rights problems. Okay, but it's a track called Give It To Me Right by Melanie Fiona. Okay, now this is a very simple piece of music. And every 16 counts, it will have a break. Okay, a break is where the music stops. So we go 5, 6, 7, 8, and freeze. So play around, and then it goes again. Okay, and that principle repeats over and over again. So every 16 counts, that music will stop. Okay, so what do we do? Demo time. Right. So what we try and do when the music's stopping, the best thing to do, the easiest thing to do to start with is stop. Okay, so one of the hardest things to do in dancing is nothing at all. Right, now what we're looking for is that when the music stops, and I'll play it again as we get to that point there, so you can be doing whatever it may be, you can be dancing away, but then freeze. Okay, so that's the first part. Right, now, what we're then looking for is, that's the red of the traffic light. We then have the orange, where you would then move your body from side to side or doing something. Okay, we then have the green, where you then go again and start the music off again. Okay, so I showed that in actual action as such by myself, let me dancing. But imagine I'm doing a basic, for instance. Okay, so I'm going to have a break and freeze, then move the bodies as much as you wish, and then go again. And then you start dancing whatever you're going to do at that point there. Okay, so that's breaks. Very simple way of doing it. Okay, but if you hear the music stopping, stop. That's level 1 of what we call musicality, trying to do that. Hello, Beatrice, as well. And my father-in-law and mother-in-law are looking after her while I'm doing this. Okay, so that's the first part. All right. Now, the difficult part of musicality is then what to do, because it's great to stop, but we have a song like this which has, I think it's about 20 different breaks. You can't just stop every single time. So what do you need to do? Now, this is where it becomes very, very difficult. This is where if somebody does hit the break and does it really, really well without just stopping, then it's amazing. So something you have to do from a male perspective is have preparation. Okay, so for instance, if I know a particular move has 8 beats in it, okay, this is how much preparation you can do in the end. Okay, if a particular move has 8 beats in it, and I've got a predictable song like that, that every 16 beats it has a break, then after I've got to 8 beats through, I then start that particular move, and I know that at the end of those 8 beats, I will then freeze at the end of that move. Okay, and that's how you can do it. So if I'm doing this, for instance, well, there's other ways of doing it as well. So you can add extra turns in, or you can have less turns. Okay, so there's a move called a corkscrew, one of Zoe's favorites. It's a very, very dizzy move. Okay, unfortunately for her, right? Not for me necessarily, but I could start doing the corkscrew, and I could start turning. It starts off down there, by the way. And now I'm turning, I'm thinking, here comes the break, here comes the break. I'm still turning, and down, and I do a break. Okay. So I've added in more turns to hit the break. So that's our basic principle around that. Okay, or you can do less turns, do a cone break. We do lots of different musicality stuff on that. Okay, so that's that. So we have our traffic light system: red for stop, orange for prepare, doing something. Okay, and then green, you start going again. Okay, now the next bit of and this is again slightly more complex in regards to actual dancing, and this is where you really need to listen to the music as much as possible. Okay, so the next bit I'm going to talk about is all of the different instruments that you can dance to. So there's loads of different instruments that happen in a song. One of the main ones that people often forget is the lyrics. Okay, so the lyrics tell you quite often what to do in a song, or the phrasing of the lyrics. Okay, so I'm going to play you a song now which I call it's a lovely term, but a plod song. Okay, there's nothing wrong with this song, and it's perfectly fine. We've danced to it as a DJ. I have played it. Okay, but it's called Blue Suede Shoes. It's a Komodo remix of it. And nothing's happening. It's literally just repeating the same thing over and over again. So therefore, from a musical perspective, it's quite a plod song. There's not a great deal I can do. I'm going to go through certain groove repertoire that I might have, but the music's not really telling me anything to do. So I get quite bored dancing to that type of music. Okay, there's loads of different songs, obviously, that we have right now. Again, just regarding different feel of songs. Okay, so if I'm going to play you two songs here, okay, both the same song, by the way, but both have very, very different feels about them. So this is Solomon Burke and Cry to Me, right, which is a very sultry song and makes you feel kind of want to get down and just rock from side to side. And it should feel quite that type of thing. Lovely phrase. Okay. Now I can play the same song, different version. Okay, this one's by Haley Tuck. This one makes me kind of want to go like that. When you're baby. And there's nothing wrong with either of those. So both of those songs are the same song, but they have very different feel, and therefore musically I will dance very, very differently to them. Okay, one I'll get down low and I'll try and do much closer moves. The other one will be what I call more of a springy type track, where we'll kind of keep apart from each other much more. Okay, that's the second one of those, just to let you know. Okay, so there's that, okay, type of stuff. Now the other song I'm going to play for you, okay, and sorry, the other part I was going to do very, very quickly, okay, is, again, appropriate moves to appropriate songs. So, again, if I was going to play this song here, which is Good Times Roll by Shaggy, which we've played a few times before, then, again, it's kind of a, you know, a funky type track, which is right down my street, okay, and just doing lots of different stuff that is, you know, quite expressive in that sort of thing, okay, and that's fun, all right? You don't know the song it plays now. Right, so that's that one. Or we can have a different type of song. Nat King Cole, Let There Be Love. Now for this I would be much more in the ballroom phrase, okay? I wouldn't be getting down and funky to this particular track. I'd be thinking about being in frame, floating across the floor as we go. That would be more musically appropriate for this particular song. Okay, so there's those. Now the last song I'm going to play you, okay, is and we'll play this next week, okay, if you do come along to any of our classes along, okay, I'll try and get all the DJs to play it so you can have a practice along to it. But it's Rewrite the Stars from the Greatest Showman soundtrack, okay. Now, for me, this is a very complex piece of music if you actually analyse it quite a lot. There's loads of what we call different phrases in there. Now, sometimes a phrase can be 4 beats long, sometimes 8, sometimes 16, loads of breaks in there. Accents as well. So we have what we call break in the music, where we had earlier the music stops and you stop. Okay, but quite often there'll be what we call accents, so it builds up and then it has a crash moment. Okay, now I'll play this song for you. I have to again talk over it to rights reasons, but this is a song. Okay, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Right, so now we have the phrasing. Still going. Here comes the next phrase, and it's going again. Here goes the next phrasing. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Here's the next one. There's little crashes there. 6. Now we go. And go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here's the next phrase. Okay. Dun, dun. Let's keep going. So here's the lyrics. Okay, so we have that going on. So there's lots of different parts now. You can hit either on 4 counts, 8 counts, 16 counts sometimes. You do one move that would float across the lot. Okay, but we have different parts of this particular song. Okay, if I fast forward it a bit for you. Okay, where it has, this is quite slowly building up a little bit now. Okay, but it's still quite slow, and it's still the same speed, but quite slow in regards. Now it starts to build up a little bit more. Okay, 2, 3. Here's the next crash, and go. Okay. Now we have short ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have what we call a crash moment coming up fairly shortly, and it does a big build-up. Okay, so here we're going to fly away. The song tells you to fly away. Do a penguin walk. Fly across the room. It should be flowing everywhere now. Okay. Now we have a crash moment. Okay, a build-up. So we do lots of turns. You ready? We're turning. Ladies are getting dizzy. Keep turning. Keep turning. And we go for the crash. Okay, so lots of music. Okay, but we got lots of build up there, and then you can do a crash with a break or a freeze, whatever it may be. Okay, but my main message, and I'm finishing off now, you'll be pleased to know, okay, is that men, you are responsible for musicality. Ladies, follows, you are responsible for musicality. Okay, everybody should be listening to the music. That's the main thing, is to make sure that you are trying to actually dance to the music. It's not just a background noise. Moves don't matter necessarily, okay, at a certain level, right? But we want to make sure that you are dancing to the music. That is why, for instance, at Swindon this Saturday, getting a plug in there, we were playing lots of musicality stuff. That's what the best dancers love this dancing to, because you can interpret it much, much better than if I go back to this particular track. He says I can't find it anymore. Never mind, okay, there it is there. Okay, if I go back to this particular one, that can leave you quite cold. Of course, the pleasure of musicality is that sometimes you love a song, sometimes you don't. That's fine, okay? But we can do lots and lots of different things to lots and lots of different music anyway. Musicality is one of the things as well as the Big Bass Bash. Just to let you know, that's one of the masterclasses as well, all right? Right, this will be available via Facebook later on today as well. I'll also edit it down so you can listen to it as a podcast on Spotify, on iTunes. As always, as I always say, if you can leave a review, apparently it helps. I have no idea how, but if you can, that would be fantastic. If you have any requests of what next month's theme will be, that would be amazing. I'm always happy to listen to what everybody wants to do, okay? But this has been the podcast. I'm Richard Beauvoisin. Thank you very much. Hope to see you again soon.